Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name's Tina and I'm bobbing along nicely. I've had a busy week, not necessarily sewing related. I've had some gallery stewarding duties to do, which are great fun, and also some volunteering that I do local to me, which is nothing to do with sewing. I have, as it appears, attracted some controversy. I wouldn't say controversy, but there's been some interesting discussion going on in my little corner of the internet, and I think it's probably a good idea to address that at this point in my vlogging journey. I didn't really sew as a teenager or a young adult. I did a bit of sewing in my 30s and 40s, but really didn't understand fit or how to choose the right pattern and sizing, all of that I didn't know. So I've recently learnt or started learning to sew properly, if you like. I've learnt more about fitting, all about how to interpret instructions and to adapt patterns to fit me. It's a journey. I'm very new to it still. I'm having an absolute whale of a time, but I'm learning every day, and everything that I do to do with sewing, I'm learning new skills. There are people who have been sewing for a long time. Lots of those people have studied formal qualifications and have a very, very different approach to sewing. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I respect everybody's point of view, but I'm here to try and suggest that there might be a different way. And the comments that were made were very much about the fact that, if you want to learn to sew, it's a difficult, arduous process. You should get lots of upset on the way. You'll never really get anywhere unless you have a lot of stress. And I'm simply here to say that is not the case. In these times, it is perfectly possible to learn to sew. Indie patterns in particular have great instructions. And if there's one thing that I would like to do through my YouTube channel, it's to encourage anybody that would like to sew to have a go. In fact, the person who made the comments made the comment that I was apparently making sewing look far too easy, in which case I'm very happy, because I want to encourage people to sew if they would like to. I didn't study formally. I don't wish to study formally, but I am learning, and I'm learning from other YouTubers, other people on the internet, people who are on Instagram, and I'm finding them all enormously encouraging. And that's the way I would like it to stay. So if you violently disagree with me, if you feel that sewing should be arduous and studious and not for ordinary people, then maybe this channel isn't the place for you. Simply my opinion. So I am taking part in a challenge. Now, like a lot of you, I watch the Sewing Bee, have done since the very beginning. Absolutely love the programme. I like the way that it has changed. There are some series that I prefer to others. I've also been fortunate enough to meet a few of the previous contestants at various shows, and they are all really, really inspiring. But obviously for the rest of us, the idea of taking part in challenges can be a bit daunting. Except that there's another way. Now, if you would like to get involved in a challenge that doesn't involve any judging, it does have a deadline, but that's purely self-set, so you don't have to set a deadline. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. Then I encourage you to join along with us. This year is the third year of the Busy Bees Sewing Challenge. Excuse me, I've got a watery eye. It's organised by Sam of Sequin Girly Creates. I've mentioned her a few times before on this channel. And there are, I think, 7 or 8 of us in total taking part this year. I'll mention their names to start with, and I will link below so that you can go along if you don't already follow their channels. Perhaps go and have a look and have a look and see what they're making too. So, as I say, Sam of Sequin Girly Creates. There's Jasmine of Jazzleberry Sews. I think she and I are both quite new to YouTube and enjoying it so far. There's Emma of MK Sews, and she's actually over in Australia. There's Shannon, the Sewing Warehouse. Michelle of Made by Michelle. Vanessa of Sew Lulu Rask. And Laura of Sew Very Laura. So we are all taking part in the challenge. It's taking part over 3 months, so September, October and November. And we will all be taking part in the same challenge at the same time and hopefully revealing our product or projects, if you like, on the same day towards the end of each month. So this month's challenge, as per the Sewing Bee, is the pattern challenge. So we've decided between us, or Sam, encouraged by Sam, that we are all going to make a pattern that is free. Now, I've talked about Marilla Walker before. She has very kindly made her patterns, or some of her patterns, available on the web for free. So this would be a really good way of getting involved if you want to dip your toe back into sewing. There are various different patterns. There's the Anning shirt dress, which I did look at, but realistically that kind of silhouette isn't necessarily something I would gravitate towards. There is a coat whose name escapes me at the moment. That's a possible. I rather like the look of that. There's the Bellum night dress, which I have already made and shared with you. And there's the Nautilus blouse. So I thought for this challenge, I'd look at the Nautilus blouse. Now it comes in two different options, several different options. You have a round or a V-neck. You have sleeveless with little plackets, or long sleeves, and they have a lovely pleat detail here. And they have elastic at the end. I've had a look at the pattern and it's really, really straightforward. The instructions are great. And I would suggest that if, as some of you have commented, you haven't sewn for a while and you'd like to get back into it, this would be a really good place to start. So maybe you'll join along with us. It doesn't use a huge amount of fabric either. I'm going to make my version in some remnants of fabric that I bought a couple of years ago. I don't know if I can show this to you. It's got a really subtle sparkle to it. I made a blouse out of it, but I have enough, I think, left to make the Nautilus top. Hopefully in the long sleeve version. I may have to adapt the sleeves. It depends on how full they are and how much fabric I have. But as I say, I've had lots of comments from people saying, you know, they used to sew, they don't know how to get back into it. So this is my call to you to consider joining in. There's no pressure, there's no judgment. There's no judgment for us either. You don't have to share, but it would be a really good way of you connecting with the rest of us and sewing along. As I say, it's straightforward. You can have round or V-neck, no buttons down the front or buttons on the V-neck version. The sleeve insertion is flat sleeve insertion, so you haven't got to worry about inserting sleeves into an aperture. It's all done on the flat. And I think this might become a wardrobe staple for me. It's certainly looking like a layering piece that I can use in the autumn. So, food for thought. Maybe you'll join along and have a go. I'd love to know your thoughts. I'd also love to know what you think of the other challenge participants and what they're getting up to. I've certainly followed them all, and it's another good way of getting in touch with other vloggers, building our little community here on the internet. Before I go, I should share with you what I'm wearing. This is the By Hand London Tamsin. I made this about 18 months ago. It was one of the first dresses that I made in a nice denim, and I've done some machinery embroidery on the sleeves and also the neckline. Super, super comfy. It's on rotation pretty much all year round, apart from when it's really, really hot. And I'm thinking I might need to make some more now as we edge towards autumn and winter, with some dresses with a little bit more coverage and length. I'll keep you updated on that. So, as ever, thank you so much for watching, for your comments, for your thumbs ups and for your subscriptions. I do welcome healthy debate. I'm really not interested in people arguing. For me, sewing is a positive thing, and I want to encourage people to sew whatever their ability, and to encourage other people rather than try and put them off by telling them things are too complicated, too hard. And if you're not doing it the old-fashioned way, then it's wrong. There are no wrong answers. I truly believe that anyone who would like to sew can make wearable garments with a decent finish. It doesn't have to cost the earth, and it certainly doesn't require having studied at prestigious institutions or even had any formal training. I'm learning by having a go, and I encourage everyone to do so too. Speak to you all soon. Bye-bye.